The November grind resumes for the Oklahoma Sooners this week in Tuscaloosa. Do the Sooners have what it takes to win a third game on the road in the SEC this season? Let's get into it. It's Big Monday. Good morning, and welcome back to Rise and Shine College Football's Big Monday. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. Big Mike Boganowski will be along shortly. And if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame college football. Welcome into the show, everybody. Good to see everybody in here. Bishop Frank, Jay Fez, Crucifix Autumn, Logan Litkey, Jay Fez, our Moosehead, True Okie, Gonzo's Aventuras. Hey, there we go. David Moyer, you didn't know I could do that, huh, Gonzo? Eho the Simp, Brandon Snake, welcome. You guys getting video now? Y'all getting video now? It was a little slow. Neilio, good to see you, sir. Good to see you. How's everybody doing this morning? Hey, man, big week, big week for the Oklahoma Sooners. Listen, as big a game as you have seen, and I know that we've been saying this a lot over the last few weeks, but that's because of the situation that Oklahoma finds itself in, backs against the wall, have to win from here on out to get into the playoff. But none bigger is this game than this game in Tuscaloosa, Alabama on Saturday, 2:30 local time against the Alabama Crimson Tide, number 4 ranked in the country. It just doesn't get bigger, folks. It just doesn't get bigger. And welcome into the show, David Whitehead, TP, Drew, Rob 077. Hey, sorry about but your boys, man. They didn't look too good this weekend. But something tells me they'll probably be ready for Oklahoma next. Something just tells me. Boomer Levi. What's up, my guy? Welcome. Listen, if OU could pull the upset on Saturday, we can win out, no doubt. Absolutely. I think you're in a good position to do so, but winning Saturday in Tuscaloosa is no small feat. I think a lot of questions are being asked around the country, whether or not what it's going to take for OU to win the game. Can they win the game? I think they can win the game. Does Oklahoma have to play? I think I heard Andy and Ari asking something about, is it going to take, can they play or can they win the game? Yes, but it would take them playing their best game of the season to do so. I guess that's a question I would have is it going to take your best performance of the year to get it done? I think in most respects, you would probably say yes. And we'll talk a little bit about that whenever we get Big Mike in here. What's up, Spaceman Jams? I think it would take pretty damn close to your best game. But I would also say that Bama's going to have to play its best game to beat Oklahoma too. And I think what the places that you match up well with them, you match up very well. Now, some of the places that Oklahoma is quote unquote deficient at, or that somewhere that you could struggle, I think it's a good matchup for them too. I think, this is one of those games of styles, making fights. We talk about that often on the show is that, styles do make fights. Um, and in this instance, it's definitely going to be how it is. The matchup of the game is obviously the Oklahoma defensive line versus that Alabama offensive line, which has been very good, particularly in pass protection. You have seen some struggles of late from their tackle position. You've had some injuries that have gone on along their offensive line. I think that there is some opportunity to put Ty Simpson in a place that he hasn't been in much this year, which is getting a lot of pressure on him, forcing him into some mistakes and things like that. And let's face it, Ty Simpson does not make a lot of mistakes. 21 touchdowns on the season, 2,461 yards, just one interception. He's completing 67% of his passes so far as they have started off the season at 9-1, or think I think 9-1, 8-1, 9-1, something like that. Um, I mean, let's just be real here. This is going to be it's about as good as it gets for a quarterback in the SEC against the level of defenses they played. And looking over the strength of schedule, Alabama's actually overtaken Oklahoma at the moment in strength of schedule so far this season because of the teams that they've played. Now, Oklahoma's going to play two of the teams that they've played as well, along with them um, coming up. So I think it could end up being kind of a wash there. But where you come into the season thinking that Oklahoma's got the toughest schedule in the league, turns out it's been Alabama overall, but not by much, just by a little more. Good morning there, Benji. What up? What up? Let's get into some of this. Any word on Williams and RMT being able to go against Alabama? Not that I've heard so far. Obviously, it's early in the week. They're going to keep that hush hush. I don't think that's anything that they would want to broadcast to Alabama on whether or not you're going to see RMT. But that is something we're going to have to talk about. I think you have to assume that RMT is not going to play. If he does, he's definitely going to be limited, and that makes it kind of uh, impaired. Well, it makes it apparent on the rest of that depth to show itself on that D line. And this is something that, look, Oklahoma has hung its hat on the depth of that defensive line from edge to edge. You've got a lot of depth on the interior. You've got a ton of depth on the outside as well. And if you look at what happened in the past game, I mean, RMT definitely made the biggest play of the game when he picked up the fumble and, stiff armed a guy for 20 yards and then finds himself in the end zone. But look, after that, you saw Taylor Wine show up and become a, a game wrecker, right? You saw some really good things from PG Adebayo, particularly against the run. Marvin Jones Jr. has been solid at worst, solid all year long. Danny Okoye got into the action as well this past weekend and got a sack as well. Look, you have to, and then on top of that, because of the work they do, you saw Kip Lewis getting a couple of sacks as well, or at least tackles for loss, one sack and a tackle for loss, something like that. But he's making himself known and getting into the backfield as well. You've got guys like obviously oh Kendall Daniels has as kind of a hybrid linebacker. He's been a guy that can get into the backfield as well. I think you're going to expect a lot from him. But again, this is where that depth really comes in handy. And this is where you find out just why Brent Venables and this staff recruits the way that they do, because they know that being able to run in healthy bodies and sustain injuries is going to be key at the later parts of the year. Again, I would tell you that I don't expect to see much R. Mason Thomas. And if you do, he's probably not going to be the same at least right now. These quad injuries and hamstrings or whatever it could be, um, you know, I'm hearing quad. These are things that you don't easily see players come back from, right? So that's one of the things where you just kind of have to look at it as you're probably not going to see him. What's up there, Bloody Guns, True Okie, Urban Engine? Good to see you guys. All right, let's see. Urban Engine says no offensive line has dominated our D line this year, but rather our lackluster offenses times has aided opposing offenses. Correct. Correct. I think, and a lot of these things, that's what I was getting at a minute ago when I said you've got this is a styles makes fights game. You know what I mean? And you're going to have some matchups that clearly favor Alabama because, and I would say that that big matchup right there would be the Alabama receiving core versus the OU secondary. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the OU secondary is bad because it isn't. What I would tell you is that it's improving throughout the year and definitely one of the top units against the pass in the country. They're number 22 in the country against the pass, which means that they're very, very good still. Now, are they as good as, say, the Bama secondary? No. I think the Bama secondary, another big matchup is going to be the Oklahoma receiving core versus the secondary at Alabama. The Alabama defensive line is underrated as well. Can the OU offensive line, that looks to be quite a bit better over the last few weeks, can it withstand what you're going to get from guys like uh, obviously LT Overton and some of these other guys there. I'll kind of get into let's get into their depth chart a little bit here. You got obviously LT Overton, Tim Keenan, a big presence there. James Smith has been really good. They even getting some help from guys like London Simmons, who's a true freshman. This is a legit, defensive unit that has been a lot better than people give them credit for uh, defensively in this second season under Kane Womack, who's kind of changed the way they do things. The other thing is their secondary is legit. They're young in the secondary, but guys like Keon Sabb has done a really, really good job. Damani Jackson really isn't starting anymore. He's more or less been replaced by Dijon Lee, who even as a freshman, kind of like Cortland Guillory, you've seen a lot of really good things from this kid, right? Cam Calhoun has also been really good as a redshirt sophomore, coming in and playing some time at the corner position on the other side. I think that they're really good, man. I think that they're really good, and it's one of those deals where you just kind of look at it and you're going, man, these guys, they can play a little bit of defense, and I think they're a little bit underrated when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? What's up there, my gun sweetness? Mars Jams, David Whitehead. Good to see you guys. Ronnie Wheat, what's up, man? Where you been? Haven't seen you in a while. Nate Dryling. Hey, man, he's kind of he's not really the DC, but he's the linebacker coach, and he is a stud. What is this about? Why should we be more afraid of Bama's passing attack versus Tennessee's? Well, I think it's pretty simple, Zofix. Welcome into the show. But I think it's pretty simple why you should be more concerned with that passing attack than the one with Tennessee. The trigger man. As I said a minute ago, he's got 2,400 yards, 21 touchdowns, 1 turnover on the season. 1. We were able to turn their quarterback over 3 times in the first half against Tennessee. That's the difference. That's the difference. Is it as explosive? It hasn't been, but it could be, right? Their offensive line is also a little bit better, even though I would say with the injuries that they've had and they've had some. I mean, look, even Caden Proctor's had some struggles over the last few weeks on his position at left tackle, uh, keeping the rush out of the backfield. They were particularly tough. I think they had a tougher time with Dylan Stewart and South Carolina than they did against LSU. But LSU's got a nice defense too. It's just been they've been plagued by guys that haven't really gotten anything done. Um, yeah, still that is a good stat, and I'd written that down earlier. But I I would tell you to go back and look at when have these explosive plays been happening because and I think that right now you're probably seeing an Alabama team that is not quite firing on the same cylinders that it was earlier in the season, um, they're kinda doing enough to get by. Maybe they're being a little vanilla. I think we've seen some of that kinda talk going around in the Alabama circles that they're being a little vanilla, getting ready for the biggest games of the year. It looked like they kinda coasted against LSU last week because, let's be honest, LSU didn't have the firepower to kinda keep up. It never felt like they were not in control of the game, even though it was a one-score game deep into the second half. I think it's but and the other thing is that you have to look at this. I mean, look, Ryan Williams hasn't really been their best receiver so far. That's Jeremy Bernard. But even when you go deeper than that and look at guys like Isaiah Horton, he's got 5 TDs on the season. He's under 300 yards, just under 300 yards, but he's got 5 touchdowns and 24 receptions. Um, you know, Obviously Jeremy Bernard is the leader of that receiving core this year. He's got 41 receptions, 600 yards, 6 touchdowns. Ryan Williams at 528 yards on 36 receptions with 4 TDs. He's been kind of coming on lately, a little more than he had throughout. I mean, you hear about the drops and things like that that have happened with Ryan Williams, but we know that Ryan Williams is as explosive as it gets in college football when it comes to receivers. A little overblown just how much you think. Yeah, we'll be doing a lot of joint shows there, probably, Hiroki. Um, anyway, it's been a lot of overblown what you've heard about Ryan Williams not being the same guy as he was a year ago. He's still very much a problem for any secondary. And I think that that Bama tight end, yes, I was gonna get to that as well there, TP. Also a stud. Danny Lewis has really done Josh Cuevas is their guy, though. Danny Lewis is pretty good as well, but Josh Cuevas he's one of those dudes that it it makes a lot of sense, that a guy like Ty Simpson, that's his bailout guy. He's sure-handed, he's gonna catch the ball. He's made a lot of big plays at important times, for them as well. I agree. But again, I think that the main thing is that you don't see, Ty Simpson getting very rattled. You just don't see him doing it, and he's mobile enough that, you don't look at him like you would, you know, even in the last few years, the guys that they've had, with, uh last year, it was a run first kinda deal there, right? That's not what he is. He's not a running quarterback, but he's a mobile quarterback, which means he likes to move the pocket. He likes to get out of the pocket. He can kinda make time, and he throws it very well on the move. So, um, that's another thing that you gotta that's where that tight end thing, it's good to have a tight end that finds holes in the defense, particularly whenever, into a zone, which is what you'll mostly see with Oklahoma too. Yeah, my gun sweetness, this is something I was gonna get to. Now, this is, again, where it comes into this is where that D line this is how you can beat these guys, right? Now, make no mistake, I don't think that Bama's coming into this game thinking they're gonna be able to sit back there and pat the baby for 4 to 5 seconds. I think they know better than that. Uh, One thing you know about Ryan Grubb, obviously Kalen DeBoer, is his offense. This is a They know what they're doing in the passing game. Somebody, you asked a few minutes ago, why is it that you would think that their passing offense is going to be better than, say, Tennessee's? I just think that on reputation alone from this team, from these coaches, you have to say that they're dangerous, right? They're just dangerous, plain and simple. Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, I was talking about Jalen Milroe, Ryan C. Um, but when you start looking at it, what Milroe couldn't do was he wasn't accurate to the extent, not even really close to the kind of accuracy that you've seen from Ty Simpson and consistency that you've seen from Ty Simpson. Even in their loss to Florida State at the start of the year, I think that that was as much. I mean, obviously, at this point, it's pretty easy to see that it was as much a product of what kind of overlooking them as anything else. But the other part is you're going to see, I think that even in that game, Ty Simpson played pretty well. He played pretty well. I think that the biggest problem for them right now is that I think that similar to last year, you can get them in a one-dimensional type of deal if you're able to shut down that run. Because to be honest with you, I don't even know that they really depend on the run at this point. They're gonna show some run early. I think they're gonna try to get as much as they can out of it to start with, but it's not something that they'll stick to because they just haven't been that good at it. And I think that's going to be a problem for them here. This is why I think if out of all these big games, I think that you match up as well with Alabama as you matched up with any other big time team that you've played, right? Now, what we saw, we should have seen the same thing in the Ole Miss game, but the difference there is, you've got a guy in Trinidad Chambliss that can beat you with his legs as well. I don't know that Ty Simpson's going to beat you with his legs, but they definitely, Lane Kiffin was in his bag that day and calling plays, and I think that the sloppy field had a lot to do with what happened in that as well. But you've got to see the defense step up and kind of lead the way here. And then I think it all depends on what you can do offensively as well, which is you got to have a great game plan in this one. You got to have a great game plan. You can't I don't think that you can wait until the second half to really turn it on or depend on getting a bunch of turnovers like you did in the first half against Tennessee. These are different games. These are different games, you know? Um, Mars Jams, to say this is one we're talking. I mean, you're talking about it like it's still Nick Saban and his offenses that were there. That's not the team that you're seeing. Now, last year, yes, Jalen Milroe and what they were able to do shutting down that offense. I, I would warn against just assuming that that's going to be the case again this season because I just don't know that it is. I just don't know that it is because I think that obviously they know that their game plan last year wasn't going to work, you know. But no, I know. No, you're just making a comment about his defense for some reason shuts down Bama's offense. Right, but I'm just saying it's a different offense than what we're used to seeing. I think that they still had to a lot of it, they were still trying to kind of overcome the coaching change and all that last year, and then the fact that Milroe is, without a doubt, is limited in what he could do, when he's not able to use his legs first. I think that that was a big part of it, right? But I think you're gonna have to get I think, when you start asking about what's the difference in this game and the Tennessee game, well, they beat Tennessee too. I think that their defense is certainly better. And I think that the other part of it is that in that Tennessee game, I don't think you can afford to start off as slowly as you did on offense. And by that, I think you're going to have to find a way to run the ball early and run the ball often, more than you have run the ball with your running backs than you have all year. I was talking about this with a friend last night, and I think that you need to get somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 running back carries in this game. I'm not telling you that to shut down the mature running game because I don't think you can. I think that you get what you get with John Mateer. And if John Mateer is going to be at his best, it's going to be for him being able to get out of the pocket and run, use that +1 run game and get some yards in key times, particularly on like third down and stuff like that. That's important. But you must run the football with X-Rob and Torrey Blaylock. You've got to do it. I would say the lion's share obviously goes to X-Rob. He's on a heater. You got to keep feeding that dude the football, right? He had a great game against Alabama a year ago, a great game. You were able to run the football very well against Alabama last year. You had what? I think it was over 40 something attempts, and it may have been 50 attempts and 250 yards. Huge, huge, huge day running the ball. Your offensive line seems to be better than it's been all year long. And so it feels like you should be able to do that, right? What up, T Boomer? Yeah, man. Yeah, and again, I'm not even hating on. I like Milroe. I think he's one of the best athletes in the country. But he's one of those guys that you needed him to. He needed to get the game going with his legs first, and then he could beat you with his arm. If he got it going in the run game, you were going to be in trouble. I think it's a little bit different. Does Hawkins need to make an appearance? We'll talk about this in a little bit. We must play disciplined football. Oh, here he goes yelling. Crisp football in all three phases of the game is mandatory in this hostile environment. Absolutely. Absolutely. Spaghetti, good to see you, man. Correct. It's weird some of the stuff you see around social media and on some of these shows in the comment section about him not running the ball. It's wild that because that's to be honest with you, he's better at running it than he is at throwing it lately. His run kind of sets up his threat as a passer as well. I wouldn't say it's exactly like Milroe, but not too far off. So I think the matchup you got to win. Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, Mars. I get what you're saying. I was just kind of warning against just thinking that BV, knows what he's doing against this team. I don't think he knows this team as much. And Ryan Grubb wasn't part of that team last year either. So I think that there's some differences. The good news is you've had 2 weeks to kind of study it. Right? They've been ready. Um that all cap shit. Yeah. It's like he's yelling at you, Neilio. It's like he's yelling at you, you know. In the end, look, I think that there's some key matchups that you just got to. I mean, Oklahoma's the number one SEC scoring defense. They're number 7 nationally at this point. Alabama's got the number 6 scoring offense. So as good as their offense has been, it's not the best offense in the league. It's not even the 5th best scoring wise. Efficiency wise, they're do pretty well though, and they're able to cobble together things. And again, it's a lot of consistency that you get from Ty. Their run game has been, I think they got 50 yards last week. And their run defense, yeah, I think it's one of those things that you should be able to run the football against these guys. You should be able to run the football. So just getting into that, rushing defense. Oklahoma obviously has one of the top rushing defenses in the country, number 2 in the SEC, number 4 overall in the country. Alabama is all the way at, I think they're pretty good ways down. Number 54 in the country. They're averaging giving up about 291 yards per game. Something that I saw from is it No Fake is his name? Is that the guy? He's really good. I like his show, actually. I've watched it a couple of times, and I caught him last night. I hadn't even recognized this, but I hope that the staff has. Out of all the 5 losses that Kalen DeBoer's had since taking over at Alabama, all 5 of them, you've seen the winning team have 40 rushing attempts or more in those games. I was already talking about being around 30 for your running backs anyway, between 25 and 30. I'm assuming that John Mateer is going to get at least 10 shots. I mean, he's running more than that in most games. Whether it be design run or scrambling, he's running more than that in pretty much every game, right? Hit that 40 mark. Shit, let's see if that holds up. Because with them giving up what they're giving up, they've given up a total of 1,252 rushing yards on the season, 4.3 yards per carry, and 11 touchdowns on the ground. I think this is definitely a place that you should be able to run the ball. And so why not make a concerted effort to run the football? And shout out to No Fake. That's the name of his channel, right? No Fake News or something like that. No Fake College Football, something like that. He's good, man. I like that guy. I don't know his real name, but anyway, I've caught him a couple of times in the last week or so. He gets after Ben Arbuckle quite a bit. But yeah, man, I think he's pretty good. Let's see. BV was Clemson's backbone. Yeah. Get into. Let me jump in here and catch some of these. What's up, Keith? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. What else? Where was Ty Simpson last year? Why wasn't he able to start last year? Serious question. I think they made up their mind it was Jalen Milroe. Be quite honest with you. I think they just made their mind up. You know? What? Boganowski saying he may not be able to make it on. We'll catch him later in the week. If not, no big deal. All right. Think Oklahoma will win this game. Get ready for what comes after. Anybody catch Dabo's Brent Venables impersonation in his press conference after the game? I didn't. What's up with that? What's up with that, TP? I got to check it out. I'm going to have to find it. I'll look for it here in just a second. Yeah, I know. Always yelling at me, Benji. What up, D-Max? Rock. Daniel's on 80 all game. Licensed legend. Bama's defense isn't the same as last year. Bama's defense is better than it was last year, licensed legend. I'm not sure what that was in response to. Run the damn ball. Hey, listen, no doubt. No doubt about it. What up, Ryman Lemon? What up, what up? Coach Ricks. Struggled how and what bad teams are we talking about? They didn't look good against South Carolina. They certainly I think that was their struggle bus game, right? I'll give you that one. But even though and I don't know that I think that they struggled very much against LSU, right? I don't know that I do think that. Hold on real quick. Coach Ricks, if you got time, pop in. I just sent it to your email. But I think it's fair. I think it's a fair to say. Well, I mean, as far as like so the South Carolina game for sure. LSU though, LSU. The thing is, their defense has been really good, and I don't really think that there was any point that I was concerned about Alabama not winning the game because their offense has just been putrid at LSU. You would have probably wanted to see, and I think and watching those guys, Smook had a watch along going on during the game, and he was they weren't really excited about the way the offense was playing. They felt like they probably should have poured it on a little more, right? They were still efficient. They didn't turn the football over, and that's the thing. Bama struggles against mobile quarterbacks. Okay. Um, Again, I would tell you that the main thing that you want to do, make sure you get to that 40 number. I mean, again, shout out to No Fake. That's a hell of a number there. Hit your 40 attempts. It doesn't even really matter from what he was showing on his show. Some of the rushing yardage wasn't even great. It was just the fact that they committed to the run, and that's what we've talked about a lot. Be committed to the run game. We've yet to really see Ben Arbuckle commit to the run game very much, right? The 2 games that they've gotten over 40 this year, over 40 rush attempts. It's been 4 games. I don't really care about the Temple and the Kent State game, but against South Carolina, against Michigan, and you won by 2 scores, you know? So, that's kinda where it is. Yeah. See, and that's yeah, and focus is a thing with college kids. I don't care that they're getting paid and all that stuff now. I mean, we know that it's easy to overlook some of these cats, right? Easy to overlook some of these cats when they're not playing that good. And you got a guy like Dylan Stewart who's a game record. You know what I mean? So I can see where that they gave him some problems, right? I can see that. I think that was the biggest issue there in that respect. But, you know, to me, that makes I think there's a few X factors in the game as far as Oklahoma's concerned. I think offensively, you got to look at. I think X Rob is the X factor. I think he's the guy that needs the football as much as possible. He just seems to be kind of seeing the hole really well, getting in it at the right time. His patience is there. He's running through trash really well, and he's really. I mean, his burst has been really good. He's running over people. I just love his balance has been real good. Torrey is another home run hitter, and I don't think you can forget about Torrey Blaylock either. You can't. I think you need whatever it takes. You're going to have to do what you got to do, running the football with the running game, with the running backs, in order to get past these guys. What's up there, Coach Carl? Good to see you, my guy. Um, it's going good, man. It's going good. We're just talking about you guys. Talking about you guys. Good to see you, man. You think during the bye, Bama was getting ready for LSU or Oklahoma? Just saying. Probably. I mean, probably a little bit. Ye I guarantee you they weren't overlooking LSU. I don't think that you can. Here's the thing about LSU. Yes, they've been bad this season and lost some games. They've been in most of those games, and they fired Brian Kelly and all that stuff, but that's a proud program that has a lot of talent on it, Keith, a lot of talent. Just because they haven't put it all together, you see that a lot of times with good football teams that they don't really put it all together during a certain season, right? It doesn't mean that the talent level is not there. This is a team that we were talking about as national championship contenders, you know, early in the year, before the season for sure. Oh, all good, man, all good. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's not what I was saying, first of all, Lehman. I'm saying regardless of them getting paid or not, I'm not giving them a break on anything. I'm saying it doesn't mean that they're not gonna still have a tendency to look ahead or overlook certain teams like South Carolina when South Carolina is not being good at all. And, yeah, LSU's get I mean, that's what I was getting at more than anything. LSU played Bama like it's their Super Bowl. Yeah, of course. Again, and there's a lot of talent there, and you've got a coach that bleeds purple and gold. You know what I mean? As their interim, he's trying to keep the job. That I think they all love him. They want it's a guy that Louisiana loves, and they'd like to see him get the job. I don't think there's any chance in hell he gets the job. But that being said, look, maybe he could because of the way everything's been going with the governor and everything. I don't know that they're as attractive as they were a couple of weeks ago. But in the end, that's a proud program and that's a big rivalry for them. It's a big rivalry for them. They want to keep, it's a game that they want to keep intact even. I see that being huge, right? Kind of is what it is. Aggies not beating Texas and Austin. We'll see, buddy. Human nature to overlook teams. They do it in the NFL too. That's correct. I would agree. Hawkins learned. What are we talking? What's all this Hawkins talk? What are we talking about? I saw something from TP that I want to get to. When we do throw, Mateer must be better with his footwork. Oh, you mean no jump passes? John Mateer's got to be better. We need second half John Mateer from minute one. That's what we need. We can't have you cannot sputter and play poorly like you did in the first half last week. Thankfully, the turnover that he had was in the second half. It hurt him. They gave up a touchdown off of it, which again, I think that you have to be better than that. I didn't like it. But the way he played in the second half of that football game, it gave me hope that we may be about to see what we saw more of in the first 4 games from him rather than the last 4 games that he's played, right? I hope that that's the case. And at this point, this is the game. If you can beat Alabama, I mean, not to say that you can take a week off for either of the last 2 games, and that will still be important. But if you can beat Alabama, your chances of getting into the playoff soar. So to me, you got to go get this done. And if this is another one of those games, I'm not saying that I want you to start Michael Hawkins or anything like that. I'm saying do everything you got to do. Go ahead and fire that gun empty this week. No matter what. And maybe a package for him couldn't hurt. Alabama hasn't seen him at all. They didn't see him last year. They didn't see Michael Hawkins last year. And obviously, Mateer's going to be the starter. They it wouldn't be bad to have a package for him to change the look for that Bama defense a little bit. And if you're going to run the ball with a quarterback, I mean, a 4-3 guy wouldn't hurt, right? That's where I'm kind of at on it. But that being said, as long as we're seeing what we need to see from Mateer, which is taking care of the football, running it like we saw him running it against Tennessee in the second half, I think that you're in good shape. I think you're in good shape. The main thing is to run the football with your running backs. That's for me, right? I'd love to see. Yeah, listen, I think you've got 2 more opportunities to put him in before you have to burn his red shirt if he played in a third game. But this game right here is the most important game, period. And it's the game that I think you have the most trouble with, without a doubt. I mean, Alabama's beaten both of the other teams that OU's going to play. So they're the number 4 team in the country. They're the best team in the SEC so far this season. I think that you give them all you can give them. any way you possibly can. But I don't know that you see it. Did he put 2 quarterbacks in the game last year? I don't know. Maybe. It seems like I saw something like that at one point, you know. And I don't know that I want to see a big deviation from what you've been doing. I think that you want to stick with what's worked and kind of go there. But you know, it is what it is. You think what's in good shape? Are you coming in starting your shit with me, Crunch? Saw BV with the team at half versus Tennessee. I'm all in with BV coaching this team in the playoffs. Yeah, listen, I think BV's secured his position at Oklahoma or at minimum another year and probably beyond that. I think the team that he's built, you want to see him continue to get better at some of the stuff I think that he's deficient in, but I think Brent has built a culture that you should be able to live with at Oklahoma. Be nice to see the counter or the pot pass against Bama mechanic eking out of the backside. That'd be all right. What? What did I do? What making it? I think Oklahoma. I'm coming into this game with more hope than I did last year. There, Coach Carl, definitely coming in. But that doesn't mean that I believe that Oklahoma is just automatically coming in there to win. I think they match up well. I think, and you would agree, probably styles make fights. I think that the matchup is really good between these two teams. As far as there's some things that Oklahoma probably has advantages in over what Alabama has. Now, that being said, there's things that Alabama has advantages in as well, and I think that you're certainly not going to get them overlooking Oklahoma because you beat them last year. You know what I mean? You want to see us run more exotic run plays this game? We got a better line right now going into this game. I don't know. I don't know that you got to get more exotic. I just want you to commit to it. Just run the fucking ball. At the stuff that's worked. You know, the games that the run plays that have been successful for you. I think you got to do that. I think you got to do that. Yeah. Mhm. That's correct. A decommit from Texas. Yes. One of those games for Hawkins being a playoff game. Yeah, actually, he could play any in the playoffs and he wouldn't lose his red shirt. Doesn't have anything to do with the playoff. It's all regular seasons. Any postseason, he's game. Nope, not gonna have a problem getting defensive. What are you talking about, bro? Are you just trolling me to get me to yell at you or something, Brandon? I'm in a good mood. Come on. Gonna be heading to Alabama here in a little bit, man. I'm excited. Because of the defense, they have a chance. Yeah. And yeah. I think that it's important that Oklahoma run the ball well. And when if you can get them one dimensional, I think it's going to be a tough day for Ty. The thing is like I said, this is a quarterback that he doesn't have turnover problems. He's got one interception this season. One. 21 touchdowns. Um, interested in seeing, okay, Chris says, interested to see how their tight end bunch formations work against us. Bama's O-line is suspect against speed rushing. Just have to take away the throws over the middle or wherever Bernard is at for sure. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, you got to look. You can't overlook Ryan Williams. He's been coming on better as of late too. But yeah, Jeremy Bernard is their guy. He's their guy. And hell, I mean, even though you haven't seen him get a touchdown yet, but one of the guys that keeps popping up lately for me is Latier Brooks. I mean, that guy he's a problem. He hadn't gotten a touchdown yet, but he's had some big plays for him in important times that he's made some big plays. That guy's a player. He's a baller. Send me one DT and it's on. Nah, we ain't doing any of that. Not doing it. Pulling the O line to open up the run game. Yeah, you can do it. You can definitely do that with. I think you can do that a little bit more, obviously, with Eddie. With DPL. I think you're going to have a good chance of doing that. They've been one dimensional all year. A bit, but I mean, definitely. And they're gonna listen. They're better at it than anybody else. But I think that against Oklahoma, I think that that's where your problem is. I don't think that you can be one dimensional against OU because you're not going to get him as much time. You're not going to get as much time. And if you can keep him from being accurate, which I think that's what you've seen. They don't turn the ball over, but yeah, get off the field on third down. I mean, that's exactly it. This is where on the defensive side, one of the things I think you match up so well there, and even if you don't turn them over, I think is what K. Chris is saying. Asking the D to get off the field on third. Also, this is a game where Mateer and crew can run the ball, literally move the ball, just taking what they give you. Yeah. But getting off that field on third, that's going to entail you not making stupid errors. Getting bad, getting a PI call on third and long. You let them off the hook when you do those things. And these are the things that changes momentum. You go from getting them off the field and 3 and out to now, I look at last week, 2 weeks ago now, at the end of this week, it'll be 2 weeks, but the Tennessee game, first series of the game, you have them stopped on third, 3 and out, and you get a penalty that gives them a first down. They go down and score on the opening possession, which they've done in every game except for against Alabama. But it's you had an opportunity to get momentum right then and there, and it didn't happen right then. I don't think that you can afford to do that against this team because they're not going to just give you the football the way that you saw Aguilar do it last week. You're just not going to see that from Ty Simpson. Now, I think that you can make him inaccurate. I think that you can make it, speed up his clock. You got to put a hit on him early. Got to be able to hit him early. And this is where not expecting RMT to be back. I'm not expecting him to be back. And even if he is, I don't think he's going to be the same. But this is time for the Taylor Wine show. Time for the Taylor Wine show. He was a game wrecker last week. You want him to be a game wrecker again this week. You got to have it. I think it's the biggest key. But which one? What's your historical town there, Coach? I'll pop through and see you. Is it where your boys from? Where the Transformers from? Silence on RMT. I don't think they're going to talk about it either. It's a good question. I think it's pretty comparable to the rest of them. I mean, we've seen some really good ones, right? We've seen some really good ones. I think Tennessee's is probably more explosive overall, or at least it has been, but not necessarily. I don't know, man. It's a good question. What's up, B Sharp? Oh, B Sharp. Where is B Sharp? I just saw somebody saying hi to you, so I'm saying it. Yep. I was just there too. I left the camper in in Starkville because I didn't want to pull it all the way back over here, and I had to come back and get a truck. So, what up, Comanche Sooner? Hubbard is their best defensive player. He does a lot of weird stuff too, literally blitz, then just break right for whatever reason, trying to stop the pass. Yeah, I don't know. I think LT Overton's been really good as well for them. Everybody knows about LT Overton. He's been a baller. Obviously since and they missed him for part of the season, but Tim Keenan is important at that nose tackle position. Important. He's been really good. And I think as much as we haven't really talked much about the interior, I think this is where Jaden Jackson, Stoney, G Baby are going to they're going to be huge too for getting that pressure as well. So you got to do well against their interior. They lost they were missing one of their guards last week for the game. So we'll kind of have to see. But yeah, Selma. Yeah, I may come down there and pop through there and see. I could do that. What up, sharpshooter? It should be fun, man. Should be a lot of fun. Come to the show Wednesday night and let's talk about it. Okay, I'm in. All right. If I got time to do it, I definitely will. Bro, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. It's I don't see myself getting down to Destin really, but you never know. We'll get hammered by referees in the SEC. Yeah, hey, listen, if you're gonna let the officials decide who's gonna win the game for you and not, then you get what you get, man. And they've been bad for everybody. The SEC officials are shitty. I'll put it to you that way. But I don't think it's been shitty favoring anybody in particular, like what you're saying there, Sweetness. And I don't know. I'm not gonna go into it thinking that way. It's not the way I'm gonna go in. Is what it is. It's such a to me. It's yeah. I'll be on with you guys later on. I'll be on the road, but yeah, I'll be on there for you guys. Montgomery, SEC headquarters there. But yeah. Anyway. Yep. All right, guys, we've been going for about an hour. I'm gonna take a quick break to use the restroom. We're gonna go for another about 20 minutes, and then we'll get out of here. So I'm gonna check out the latest from Fanatics. Get your gear while the getting's good going into the playoff. Are you tired of your game day gear looking like it's stuck in the offseason? Well, step up your fandom with Hall of Fame College Football's official Fanatics partner store. Whether you're a diehard Oklahoma Sooners fan like myself, bleeding Crimson and Cream, or you rep another one of the SEC's heavy hitters, Fanatics has you covered. Shop thousands of officially licensed hats, jerseys, sideline polos, and exclusive championship merch from the entire Power 4 and Group of 6 too. All shipped directly to your doorstep and fast. You want to gear up like your favorite coaches and players? Are you looking for that perfect tailgate tee or a statement piece for your man cave? Fanatics is your one-stop shop for authentic college football gear from everybody that plays the game. So do yourself and your team a favor. Click our link in the description or simply log on to hofmedia.us/fanatics. That's hofmedia.us/fanatics. And you can shop everything that you want for the best prices of the day right on our Fanatics partner page. Hey, Jason Watkins here with Hall of Fame College Football. And if you are ready to back your favorite team, the Sooners, and fade that Texas hype train every Saturday this fall, there's only one place to do it, my bookie. Right now, you can double your first deposit up to $1,000 when you sign up at hofmedia.us/mybookie1000. That's hofmedia.us/mybookie1000. Yep, 100% deposit bonus, and it takes less than 5 minutes to get started. Whether you're betting college football, rolling the dice in the online casino, or dropping a 10-leg parlay on SEC Chaos, MyBookie has everything you need. Bet anytime, anywhere, on the go, at the tailgate, or yelling at the refs from your couch. Just don't talk trash. Put your money where your mouth is. Hit that link, hofmedia.us/mybookie1000, and get your deposit bonus today. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie and Hall of Fame College Football. All right, I'm back. All right, what do we got in here? What up? Let's see. Get the ball out fast. Bama loves the screen game. Somebody was asking me something in here a second that I saw. Oh, sweetness. We're averaging 10 to 12 penalties a game. Our opponents get 4. If you're going to sit there and act like that's just about the SEC referees, you're sadly mistaken, and you know you are. The problem with Oklahoma a lot this year has been just a lack of doing things clean. And you know this. There's a lot of stupid mistakes that they've made. Now, some of the penalties I would agree, like I think that PI that Cortland got against the tight end that ran right into him last week, I thought it was bullshit, just like anybody else. But you could have called that one either way. The truth is, they've made some stupid penalties and at the wrong times throughout the year. You can say that's just about SEC officials. It's not. You know it isn't. I know it isn't. So let's not go there. What are you talking about? So come on, man. Let's just be real about it. Listen, something I wanted to bring up, Ian. I'm glad you did, and welcome to the show. Look, if they win this game, they will have won all their SEC road games this season. They've won their 2 that they've had so far. They're going to only have 3 true road games in the SEC this year. That's huge, man. And so something that I don't think people have really talked about that, but to go 3-0 in the SEC on the road and against the teams that you're playing in the SEC on the road is huge. It's huge. You know, you won the 1 road game last year and one at home. And I mean, just wasn't a good season, but it's big time to go on the road and be able to win your road games in the SEC because it's the toughest place. Everybody talks about it. It's tough to win on the road. But, you know, I'm just saying, had family in SEC since before, got family all over, know it's all conferences. We need to stop all of it. Oh, whatever. I'm just telling you that it isn't, they need to have some more, you just got to be more disciplined than what they have been. And I think that that's the biggest thing with Oklahoma in certain situations. They have not been, they just haven't been disciplined at certain times of the game, and it's hurt them. Play clean, you shouldn't lose. You're right about that, Boomer 1991. I would give you that. Yeah, next week is Mizzou. Boy, they look terrible this past week. They look terrible. A&M beat the brakes off their ass. Beat the brakes off them. Freshman quarterback had a lot to do with that, and I think that here's the thing, though. This is where, again, you can't even look ahead of it. But right now, it's just starting to look like, you know, yeah, Bryant-Denny Stadium gonna be rocking. Absolutely. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, man. I really do. I'm excited about it. I haven't got to see a game inside Bryant-Denny, so I'm excited. Great places to yeah, tough road atmospheres. You guys know what I think about Beamer. I expected that to be a win, but after the way they just played against Texas, I don't know what I expected. Here's the thing. The one thing that I think you have to battle against if you're Oklahoma is the tendency to play well and then play not so well. And it's just been kind of back and forth the last, obviously the last month. So I want to see them do it again. And this is as big a game as it is. Yeah, man. Listen, Mike Elko is doing the job, and right now, I mean, they probably ought to be considered. They are look. They're the number one team in the SEC at the moment. Bama right there with them, obviously. Aside from that early loss, but what you've seen from Texas A&M, they get better every week. Their defense has gotten better from week to week, and Marcel Reed is in his bag. They've got some serious weapons on that offense. You know, KC Concepcion. Then you've got what's his name? Damn it, I always forget that kid's name. But that second year kid that Oklahoma was real high on as well. Stud receivers. These guys are just they're lighting it up. And to me, Kevin Klein has done a really good job. A really good job as OC this year, kind of mixing it up, and seems like he's in his bag with Marcel. They're firing on all cylinders, man. I think they're a tough out for everybody. Could you see them going to Texas and losing? Yeah, you could. It's Ed Austin, it's Big Brother, it's all that, but they're a lock for the playoff at this point because nobody else is going to beat them that I can see in the regular season anyway. So yeah, anytime kick is good for Oklahoma. There you go. That's what I'm saying. I didn't get to that, Logan, but I agree. Let's not do the Auburn thing and bitch about refs the whole time. Everybody's dealing with the same shit. I sat there at Furrow Field for it with the wifey. We got to leave at the first to the fourth quarter. Yeah. Yeah. What up, Boomer Halen, David Florence, Ian Gomez? Good to see you, man. Tennessee got the young guys ready for the last road game. Yeah, I think so too. And I think you're gonna go in. It's a hostile environment in Bryant-Denny, no doubt about it, man. It's gonna be a hostile environment. And the expectation is for them to win there. I mean, look, it's a proud program, just like OU is. Proud. And they expect to win, and they got revenge on their mind. This is not gonna be an easy game. This is not gonna be an easy game. TP, well, then Oklahoma better too, because if Oklahoma doesn't win this game and they win out, you're not getting in the playoff. The 9-3 playoff team will be Texas, not OU. Yep, yep. We're thinking right here. We're right here, too. Right here. A&M isn't losing to Texas. I think little brother syndrome is non-existent this season. Eh, you think, bro? Brandon, how old are you, Brandon? I gotta before I ask this question. I don't know how old are you? Are you in your 40s at least? Or are you in your 30s and 20s? Because if you're just, I can just say this: Texas A&M has had a lot of seasons ruined by Big Brother, in which Big Brother wasn't even good, and they still beat Aggie's ass. It just it happens more than it don't. And being in Austin, I don't know, man. I see. I feel that's they're. I feel like they're gonna win. What about okay? Your family's been there a couple 100 years. What does that have to do with anything? We made We made Sankey look like an idiot. How? How? What are you talking about? Hey, don't doom and gloom in here, sweetness. Come on, man. Don't do that. Yes, it does. And listen, I think he may be the massive culture shift, but I'm not ready to declare that all the way until I see it. You have to actually see that shit go down. Now, Mike Elko couldn't give a fuck less about Texas, right? And he doesn't want to talk about the past and when they were 9-1 in the COVID year and all that when he was the DC. He doesn't give a shit about that either. Doesn't want to talk about it. He's doing the right things to change the culture there. But that's deep seated shit, man. That's in their DNA to be little brother. No matter what. Not to mention the fact that Texas is playing pretty fucking good right now. No. No, there's not. Okay. I know their record just trying to be positive. Okay, okay. All right, there we go. That's what I was gonna say. Because I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it. Yeah. Look, I mean, gotta root for Aggie in that one, even though it's kind of like, I mean, I have a hard time rooting for them too. But that being said, th- they look good, man. They definitely look good. They look I think there's I think it's within I understand why people would have them at number 1 instead of OSU. I think Ohio State deserves number 1 as much as anybody as well, but the fact is that A&M has played a tougher schedule and more real real teams, contending teams and beating them. So, it is what it is. There's enough gloom in Como. Uh-oh. Sure there is. Sure there is. Yeah. It will be hard. Physicality is gonna be another one of those keys as well, and I think that when you getting out of the game, and this is something that these pass happy teams that don't run the ball very well, it's hard to look at them as a super physical bunch of guys, right? I think they play pretty physical on the defensive side. Their DBs are more physical than they were a year ago for sure. Um, but I would tell you that in the end, physicality wise, I think OU definitely has an advantage there. And I think that OU has a belief in themselves that they're going to be the more physical football team. This is what this Oklahoma team is built on is physicality. It's what BV does. And so I think it's something that it's something to look at and we'll see what is that going to equate to this weekend. I think last year it had a lot to do with why they won and why they won handily as well. But again, this is a proud program we're talking about in Alabama. I don't know that that's the same thing that you get out of them got last year. I just don't think. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe Oklahoma has their number. We'll see. So random question. If both OU and Texas win out, do you think they both should jump Notre Dame in the standings? I don't think it's about Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is going to get in either way. Understand this. If Notre Dame is 10-2, they will be in the college football playoff. Mark it down, take a picture. I don't give a shit. Say it, clip this as much as you want. If Notre Dame is 10-2, they will be in the college football playoff. Now, the fact that the ACC has fallen apart, as I said on the late shift the other night, uh, the fact that that's gone on and you've got probably a one-team league in the ACC is part of the reason that can happen. But make no mistake, Notre Dame, they will find a way to put them in. And it would if it had to be at the expense of Texas or Oklahoma, it would be. But at 10-2, you're not leaving out Texas or Oklahoma either. Neither one. I think a lot of it'll depend on if Texas Tech is able to beat BYU again, which they handled BYU and I mean, and then some. this weekend. If they're able to beat them again in the conference championship game, or if somehow BYU was to lose again and not make the conference championship game, then the Big 12 is probably a one-team league also. That leaves room for these other teams. And it's going to work itself out. I'm not going to give you a score prediction just yet there, Coach Carr. We're going to have to wait till later. I mean, it's Monday, bro. Come on. Come on, man. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Let me check that. Hold on, TP. I'm going to get that video from TP. Okay, cool. This will be. What's a YouTube video? Why not? Spend some with me here. Give me just a second. Let me see if it worked. You guys hear that? Okay. Just a second. It said it wasn't going to let me. I don't know why I even tried it. Second, put it on this other tab. And it's that.
Coach V wearing the paw again on the sideline.
Right now.
Yeah, I looked up and I was like, there's Brent. I gave him a sideline pass. Yeah, I went over and I said, what do you think they're going to call right here on 2nd and 14? He's like, probably a screener draw. It's probably a screener draw. So I love Brent. I had Skowski. Skowski was in my team meeting yesterday, and he's on Brent's staff, and so it was great for just to see those guys. And man, I love Brent, and it was awesome for him to be dad and to be able to see T-Bone, block the punt last week. Tyler's just, you talk about one of the best leaders that we've had here, freaking Tyler Venables. This kid loves Clemson. He loves this team. He loves everything about Clemson. And, he's pretty much grown up here. And, for Brent to be able to get back, and Julie, for them to be able to get back and just, be a part of that, it was awesome. And, it was good mojo. It was good mojo. We had some good mojo down there. So it was great to see him and pulling for those guys for a strong finish.
Good stuff. That was good stuff. That is just how he would be too. Thought it was BV up there for a second. Yeah. Yeah, they spend a lot of time together, man. He knows him well. Good stuff. What were we just talking about? Yeah, thanks for sharing that with me, TP. I hadn't seen that. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. They beat Oklahoma head to head. That's the point of that. If they're going to get in at 9-3 over Oklahoma because of the head to head. And you know what? It would have to be that way. As an Oklahoma fan, it pains me to say that, but you had your chance to beat them and should have beaten them in that game at the Cotton Bowl and didn't do it. And so if you miss the playoff at 9-3 because they're 9-3 also, that's your problem. The game on the field has to matter. The results on the field have to matter above all else, above strength of schedule, all that other bullshit. It has to matter. The games on the field. If you play them head to head and you lose, you cannot. You cannot play. You can't put one team. You can't put Oklahoma in instead of them. Can't do it. Can't do it. Listen, some of our fans are clowns. Corrections. Some of our fans are not. They're not even worth talking about. Bunch of dumbasses. Bunch of dumbasses. They don't have a clue about football. They just know how to bitch. And that's just kind of where it's at. Head to head has to matter the most. Absolutely. And, I say that hating Texas as much as anybody in here. But I'll just let you know that you shouldn't have lost that game. You lost the game, and that's what does it. Thank you, Coach Carl. I think they're pretty good, man. I think they're pretty good, but they've had some moments where they haven't, they should have won the Ole Miss game too. Should have won the Ole Miss game, should have won the Texas game. And when you fail to show up and do the things that you're supposed to do, you can't. Just can't do it. Just can't do it. Yeah, and his son plays for Clemson. Yeah, there's things that are they transcend what's going on at Oklahoma. His son is at Clemson. He coached at Clemson for a long time. His son stayed at Clemson, and as Dabo just said, loves Clemson. He's a senior. It was his last home game. Damn right they should have been. Damn right they should have been. If that's what causes them to lose the game at Alabama, they weren't going to win it anyway. You can tell he misses Brent. Oh, they definitely miss Brent. A lot of what I saw I saw a picture of him wearing Clemson gear and down on the sideline and stuff. I don't know, but I don't know if that was from this year or if it wasn't. It may have been. I don't care about that either. That doesn't bother me. I know a lot of people are bitching about that too. Again, he was a fan, not a coach. He's a fan for that one. He's there in support of his son. That's all it is. Just to stir the pot, wouldn't that mean that Miami should get in over Notre Dame if they both finish 10-2? Yeah, I guess. I mean, to some extent, sure. I mean, look, it's head to head. It's head to head. And so, sure, why not? But again, and I think that, in view of the fact that they're going straight seeding or whatever, it is what it is. I mean, would that bother me? No. But I think listen, I mean, I think you're getting a little more touchy there because we're talking about conferences and stuff like that. But we're talking, out of conference and in conference and stuff like that. And Miami's not the best team. I think they may be the best team in the ACC, but they've lost games in the SEC, in the ACC. I think that they probably need to be. I don't know how they're gonna judge that on the committee, but I think it's a problem if they didn't go with Miami over Notre Dame if it was between the two of them. And I don't know that think that it's going to be between the two of them. I think that no matter what, you're probably going to get them in. Yeah. I just said that, Scott Christopher. I just said that. I just said that. Yeah. Again, head to head it has to take precedence. But I don't think it's going to be either or situation. I don't. I think they would leave a BYU out or, you know, the second team in the conference championship for the ACC before they leave out Notre Dame. It's just a fact. Now, whether or not I'm not telling you I think that that's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm telling you that I think head to head has to matter more than anything else. It is what it is. Yeah, family first, of course. Look, again, they had an off week, man. You think he wasn't preparing the whole damn week? You know, and they have a private jet that he gets to fly around on whenever the fuck he wants to. Fly out to Clemson, hang around for the evening, you go back and you get back to work. And you can tell me he ain't working the entire time that he was on the plane too? Come on, man. If it's about that, if there's no way that you could blame them losing if they lose this weekend on him going to the Clemson game. Get the fuck out of here if that's you, if that's who you might be as a fan of this football team. I think it's just wild. BV was in Clemson gear. I was at the Clemson game, got to talk with BV and Dabo in my O year. You got to talk with them? How'd you do that? That's pretty cool though. Good stuff. It's arguably the biggest brand in college football. Arguably the biggest. There's a reason why they're in on all the talks about how you're gonna format everything. There's a reason for all that shit. Plain and simple. It is what it is. And again, I think a lot of this is gonna work itself out. You know, is there anybody in here that doesn't believe that Miami could blow another game? I mean, first off, they got Mario Cristobal as a head coach. Second, Carson Beck's throwing interceptions left and right. Could happen. Bro, I'm telling you, Oklahoma fans are on it. Now, I would tell you that everybody in here so far that I can see is they're all good with BV, but there's a segment of this fan base that is out of fucking control, coach. Straight up. Straight up. Yeah, it is. Right here. Exactly. Thank you, Brandon. Lincoln Riley left during a game week. Yes, he did. I was gonna ask. I haven't seen if this is actually true or not, and I tend to wonder whether it is. I didn't get a chance to watch it. Somebody was saying that the LSU plane was in Lubbock yesterday. They were talking about it was on actually Locked on Big 12, but that guy's a bullshitter. So I'm not too sure that that's real or not. But Joey McGuire possibly being on the list to be head coach at LSU. Okay, I can see that. I think he would have to take that job. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I saw that was posted for the show this morning on Locked on Big 12. But he puts a lot of headlines out that are horse shit. Yep. I'll tell you this much, Boomer. He wouldn't have a hard time going back to Clemson. Let's put it that way. They'd love to have him back anytime. if you look at any of the comments from Clemson fans, almost every one of them was it was definitely good for him. They're excited for him and what they're doing. But the other part, it was either that or I wish he was still here, kind of sentiment, right? It is what it is. I think that again, he's proven himself this year. I think that he's done that already. They're at 7-2. You know, the 6-7 season last year, you can say what you want about, you know, that's not acceptable or whatever. You know, I know that Sooner Cowboys, did you tell him that you're out on him as head coach when you talked to him at Clemson? That you want him to leave? Did you say that to him? Because I know you've been saying it around here everywhere. Just wondering. But you know, when you start looking at some of these guys, I mean, look, we could talk about that 6-7 year and everything maybe he didn't do right. There was a lot of things that contributed to that 6-7 year, right? And the first one, he got here with very little in the cupboard. No, nothing in the cupboard almost. They 2 5-star quarterbacks gone. Marvin Mims was your biggest weapon, along with Eric Gray. Most of the defense was gone. I mean, it wasn't good. And they lost a bunch of one-score games. Oh. Mhm. No doubt. No doubt about it, bro. They're Mizzou in the ACC. They've won a lot more than Mizzou has won, bro. Nice try. You're gonna have to do better than that, bro. Sooner Cowboys, no answer? Come on, man. I gotta know. Did you have the boss to say that to Coach Venables? All right, I'm getting petty now. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I gotta get ready to get on the road. I appreciate everybody coming in. We'll talk more. There's gonna be a lot more stuff going, a lot more stuff coming from me on the road out there over the next few days throughout the week and stuff, man. Excited for it. I'll be back tonight with the guys on Brinsky and them show from the road. And so make sure you jump on there and check us out from there as well. But yeah, get excited, man. It's going to be a good week. Going to be a good week. Texas, Georgia, going to be very interesting. We'll get to talking about that as well. Can Texas finally get one? Can Texas finally get one on the road against Georgia? Let's see. Yeah, I told you guys I'm starting to get a little petty. Yeah, right. I don't think so. All right, guys. You guys. Oh, he's good, man. He's good. He's a pain in the ass, but he's good. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate the safe travels, all the good stuff. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that like button. We'll see you all on the next one.